and always known for the big damage early, and one of the much higher damage dealing supports. Um,
Malawi locked in as well. Lovely. It's some nice little spicy picks at the end of the draft.
they
The
really
Brand in the
are.
mid lane and the Alawi in the top lane is definitely going to be pretty entertaining.
And it will be that Tom Kent support, actually.
Out for most people, I think. The only relative interesting one is Jin taking the fleet footwork. Just wanted to try and get that sustain in the lane. Beyond that, I think they'll be
Fleet,
pretty fine.
Fleet footwork on Jin's probably the most common, I'd say. I mean, if you're taking Dark Harvest, you're expecting to get a lot of kills and a lot of poke, and I just don't see that happening into a Zyra Khan lane when they have all the pressure.
Yeah,
Of
it's
the,
true.
they do have a lot of the early pressure, just being that combo that they are.
Need my Hail Blades Jin out here. I think that's what I would like. The So just a nice 5 point come out from both sides, just making sure that no shenanigans going to be happening as
Just checking
Alawi
quickly,
getting
what time are
stuck.
you at?
I'm at 105, 106,
105.
107.
I will just pause for a second. I'm a couple seconds ahead.
Oh, I can try and go ahead. Hold on. It's better if I catch up because thing will be on the same. I just sped up all the way to the end, so that
Yeah,
will
I'm at
bring me up to date.
122,
Yeah, 22 for
23.
3, 4, 5.
Yeah, we'll go
Cool.
from that. Cool. As it will be the red buff start for the Vi. Look at the path up to the top side of the jungle, I imagine. Maybe get a bit of influence in that top lane that we spoke about.
hmm
As W's getting a good early trade there on the Ahri in the mid lane.
Yes, as you mentioned, he's definitely going to be. It's very important. It's always important that you land the damage. But I think in this matchup in particular, making sure that this Ari isn't able to get too far ahead with her like good wave clear and her safety. You need to kind of create a lead early on. As much as that does put the onus on you, I think that's what you've drafted yourself into.
For sure, and I think it could end up being a bit of a horror matchup if the Brand does get behind. I mean, when Ahri hits that level 6 and Brand's behind, if she can get that combo on him and just absolutely one-shot him, she could do that whenever she wants if she gets the... As we do see some trading now in the bot lane, as the level 2
Yeah,
comes through for the Zyra Khan, but just a few love taps, just warding them off until they hit their own level 2s. As we
yeah. I
are
wanted
seeing
to just
fighting everywhere.
Yeah, wanted to try and get that like a little bit of advantage as they can. As you said, they got that level 2. They want to pressure as hard as they can. Do you see Brand landing some of that poke in the top lane? T-Zum's creating a big wave up that top lane as well to try and create that pressure. As Dabba's landing out a bit of extra damage, but even so, as it feels like he has been landing spells, he is falling behind in the health trades currently. I think that's just the prowess you're seeing coming out from Ari as a mid laner, able to get that Q wave clear so easily and land it onto some poke while also healing up. She's just so versatile.
Well, she has also taken the corrupting pot, so looking to actually trade more in lane
True. I
and
didn't even
get
see
through for more
that.
sustain. Yeah, interesting start. I actually don't see many people start corrupting pot these days. Most people opting for the Doran's ring. I wonder if she's
Mm.
running time warp tonic for the extra healing on the potions as well, which is usually what you take if you're planning on taking the
She
corrupting pot
is.
in
She
lane.
is running Time War Tonic. Yes.
Yeah, so that
She,
makes it even stronger for the sustain. And running the TP as well, she'll be able to get that full back up and then come back with the full 3 pots.
yeah, got the minion
Um,
Nima and the Time War Tonic as well on their secondary tree. So
and actually thinking about it, it's quite smart into a brand lane where you are expecting to get poked relentlessly. It's the E on the burning wave is not easily dodgeable unless you're just sitting quite far back. Um,
yeah,
so quite a smart choice, I'd say, from Sapana there.
we do see Ares coming here for a gank onto this bottom lane, looking to try and get an E onto the Killer Vanilla here. As Deja Vu gonna use the bush to just W away. They're able to nicely avoid that gank. Ares time wasted a little bit. Not gonna lose too much. Just gonna comfortably escape that gank.
Yeah, nothing really too wasted. No flashes burned on either side. If anything were to come from that, it would have been on Beckler to stop the time Kench getting away with his W. But I'm not sure if he had vision in the brush when he was using it there. So.
Yeah, I don't think he did, which was kind of Deja Vu was kind of a little bit aware of that, using the bush to try and just secure that W escape and make sure that they're not going to lose anything, not have to blow any summoners or anything like that. We do see currently Galunglay is stacking up that wave towards the top lane, a little bit ahead in CS, but once this wave crashes in, I imagine it's going to be very similar.
Yeah, there must be a good 12, 13 minions there for him to pick up, as long as he doesn't lose too much of it to the tower.
Yeah.
We have all been known to be like, oh, I missed 5.
Oh, I missed 6 CS. I should be 6 CS up. I'm so sorry, game. I'm
I
so sorry.
know. Bad feeling, bad feeling.
Okay,
As we
wait
do see the
a minute.
Jarvan now clearing his top side, Actually, a relatively quiet first 5 minutes. I don't think a single summoner's been blown yet.
No, not a single summoner been blown at all. As I say, that TP being used in that top lane is the first summoner of the game, but that's the most passive summoner that could be used in the entire game, I feel like.
Oh,
Especially
free frames. No
pre-unleashed.
combat summoners used.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, to be fair, none had been used until literally as we were talking. They both TP'd back to their top lane. But yeah, you know, both. I just realized as well on the topic of TPs, both mid laners opting for that TP as well. So 4 TPs in this game is going to be interesting, maybe for those late game team fights and the positioning that you can get around that.
I do feel if you're not running TP and you are running an Ignite or an Exhaust, you do need to get that lead in lane, as it's just TP is so much stronger once you come into the mid and late game. It gives you so much more agency on the map and where you can be and where you can't be.
Yeah, you kind of have to make that investment worth it in a way. You kind of have to be like,
Yeah.
well, if I'm not taking TP, I'm going to get my advantage elsewhere. As Nice Charm going to land as the Soul Unbound. It's not called Soul Unbound, but that's basically what it feels like as T-Zums hits that onto the Aatrox, cursing him up, meaning that a few tentacles are going to slam down onto him.
Test of Spirit, I believe.
Ah, yes, it is Test of Spirit. Yeah. I just saw Yone and I was like, well, their soul is unbound from them currently. So
They are, yeah. That was that Wibbly last game? That one?
yeah, Wibbly playing Yone last game.
Yeah. Coming through with the 1-kill Yone win.
I was so surprised he had 1 kill. Honestly, I looked at it at the end of the game. I was like, huh? I literally thought he had like 8 kills or something.
Team player.
Team player. He needs that even shroud next time.
So we are starting to see the level 6 come through. Obviously, we did just see Sapana using the Ari ult to dodge the Vi gank in the mid lane. But level 6 is also coming through for Davis and Galungulate, and the Vi will not be too far off along with the Jarvan. So we'll see where they choose to make their first move with those and see if they can get any reward for those investments.
As we will see, I think it's worth mentioning in the mid lane, Davis is currently securing a little bit of a CS lead, about a 10-11 CS lead in this mid lane. Most other lanes are pretty even right now, with a small advantage heading towards that bot side, as we would expect, I think, from the Lover's lane in comparison to the Jhin Tom Kenshin that we mentioned earlier. But, you know, I don't think you're going to be too mad if you're the side of being Invictus. 7 minutes into the game, no kills, even, you know, you're 200, 300, 100 gold ahead right now. So, not going to be too mad about it, I don't think. Just hopefully try and sustain this for as long as you can.
And I've just been trying to think for the past couple of minutes. Who do you think has this? Who do you think secures the late game if they get to it? I can't say I've seen much late game brand, but
if I'm just going off of team comps alone, I just hate Jhin. Like, to be honest, like,
yeah.
It's not like he doesn't do anything, but late game, when I'm trying to compare it to like Xayah in a team fight, I'm like, Xayah late game can rinse an entire team. Jhin can maybe rinse one person.
Yeah, Jhin into tanks as well, where you got the Alawi and the Jarvan.
You're gonna see the Alawi land here, and oh my god, so much damage immediately. I was not expecting that, nor was Galungulate. I think the W gonna land onto the side of for the side of Alawi, meaning that the tentacle is going to slam down and annihilate the health bar of Galungulate there, as he's going to fall as a solo kill in the top lane as the first kill of the game goes over.
And Galungulate just completely caught off guard with the damage, which, to be fair, is quite common with into Alawi. Damage she's going to do until the tentacles actually hit. You're like, oh, I'm already dead.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I got hit by a W before. It was fine. I only took like a little bit of damage, and then you get W and 2 tentacles slam onto you, and you lose all your HP bar, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
No,
and unfortunately blowing the flash at the same time there as they died, so a wasted summoner spell unfortunately there. And has actually opted for the Executioner's Calling as its first item, and so is the Alawi actually. Both are very healing-sided matchups. Top laning indeed, yeah. As AsstroSmurfs looking to secure the first dragon of the game, which will be a Cloud Drake, and it will be uncontested as the Invictus looking to secure their Herald in the meantime. But let's see if Sapana has anything to say about that. As he's just running in to check, trying to see if he can ward it. And it looks like they're coming over to contest now, actually.
Yeah, J4 coming up as well, as we do see Alawi landing that Test of Spirit onto Galungulate, going to push them off as they're able to now try and secure this Rift Herald for themselves. It seems it's just going to be given up by the side of being Invictus, understanding that they no longer have the prio on the top side of the map that they would need to be able to do this. As T-Zums is, you know, already creating pressure with that 1 kill early, means that I think for the rest of the game now it's going to be very difficult for Galungulate to be able to deal with T-Zumps, especially if he's about to level up.
And some great macro coming through from AsstroSmurfs there to secure the Drake and recognize they're probably on Herald, and if we send our members there and our resources, we could probably stop this before they've taken it. And lo and behold, it's actually worked out very well for them, and they've managed to secure everything on the map so far.
Ooh, lovely little poke landing on there from the Arias. You see, Galungalate is trying their best here to try and, you know, try and defend against this Alawi and just wave clear and keep it kind of standard. I think going to be a little bit frustrated about that solo kill, as we said, with the panic flash and everything as well. It's going to feel a little bit worse, as we do see Eris maybe looking for a gank here. Going to be spotted out on that ward as he tries to clear it. Only landing at level 7 means that if that Alawi is able to land the Tester Spirit onto you and then slam an ult down, I think you're immediately dead no matter what. So it can be difficult to try and gank her.
As soon as Alawi lands the Tester Spirit, you've already lost the trade. You just got to run away at that point and just take your losses with how much of a damage she does to you on the Tester Spirit at that point. There's not much trading into that, especially you can't commit to it either. So Galungulate will be struggling until he manages to get a bit hit, as we do see Jarvan coming in for a gank, potentially. They're probably looking to dive this with the Heralds.
Yeah, Rochelle going to land onto it. I don't know if they can dive this, to be fair. It's going to be a bit of a difficult one. As Ares lands the ult underneath him, is going on, trying to get the healing down. Another tower shot going to land, meaning that he is going to fall. T-Zumps is going to take another one as well, but unfortunately not going to fall. And I think going 1-for-1 in the 2v1 dive on a tower, Galungalate is going to be happy with that at least, as the J4 burns the flash and the ult, and T-Zumps secures that kill on the follow-up.
I don't think AsstroSmurfs are too sad about that either, though. I mean, they have managed to wave, and they're securing more plates with this Alawi, just increasing her lead now. So Galungulate will be happy with the trade. It was the best he could make out of that situation, but in terms of overall how it's looking, I think they're quite happy with that.
Ooh, Vault Breaker just going for a whiff there. Ares just missing the Vault Breaker means that Sapana is able to go in and get that charm onto Deja Vu. The root landing as well from Jaina, meaning that Deja Vu is now chunked to below 50% HP. Sapana going to be able to just get this base off and hopefully move back to that mid lane. As we do see, they are a little bit of XP down against Dabis, as we mentioned before, that little bit of a mid-CS discrepancy showing up as well. But when your top side is this far ahead, has a bounty, a 2-0, as well as some tower plates, I don't think you're going to be too bothered being about 15 CS down. You know, you can't win every lane.
Yeah, and just looking at this gold lead of 1.7k, it's sat entirely on about 1,000 ahead of the Aatrox, and the Jarvan about 700 ahead of the equivalent buy. So all the advantages sat on the top side of the map at the moment. As we do see the ultimate forced out of Tahm Kench and Galungulate.
Oh my god, this damage is insane. Galungulate's ticking away here. The Soul Unbound is gonna... the Tester Spirit is going to mean that he falls, and once again, I think this is just maybe inexperience against Alawi, not expecting that amount of damage to come out, and just kind of looked panicked when that damage started coming out, didn't really know how to respond against it, and unfortunately, T-Zumps is going to get another solo kill into that top lane against Galungulate.
And the issue against Lau in your Aatrox is it is quite hard to get the agency to get to remove those tentacles as a melee top laner. You really do have to walk up, and then it does give her an easy line for the Tester Spirit, which you then have to dodge. And it's not a matchup you play very often. So it really could just be the experience, not knowing the damage numbers and when can Alawi punish me for where I'm standing.
Yeah, I think that's mostly what it feels like as well in most of these fights, because it doesn't feel like necessarily like, you know, Galungulate is... It feels like almost they're like, oh, I can take this trade, and then they're like, oh wait, I cannot take this trade. Oh my lord, as we're going to see Davis trying to land an ult onto him here, as Sapana going to burn the Spirit Rush themselves to secure that they get away, as Brian going to take damage down. As you know, Davis has been doing a decent job in this mid lane this game, I feel, to try and...
He's farming really well.
Yeah, I mean, Brian, just W either way, then you've secured it all.
And also that Aria ult must have been very close to not being off cooldown, because he had just used that in the bottom lane, and so that must have been up within the past 5 or 10 seconds before he used it again. So lucky enough that it didn't get punished by Davis there in the mid lane, but could have very well been the kill there had that been down.
Yeah, I think I would like to see... I'm very surprised about the little action of the junglers we've seen in the first 15 minutes of this game, as we're going to see both teams maybe poised to have a dragon fight here, but with both teams being 15 minutes in, having a Vi and a J4 who are very active picks, as we see J4 now going in, going to land that ult onto Killer Manila as the ult follows up as well, able to flash out of it as the Rakan W going to land the two of them. Lovely follow-up with the Jaina damage. Jaina landing the pullback onto it with the Q following through from the Ahri as well. Aatrox trying to land that damage onto the Ahri as the Jin ult bullets fire onto Jaina, falling to below 25% HP, as they're just going to try and step back the Invictus trying to create some pressure here onto this mid lane as, you know, Ass is able to win that team fight very comfortably. Ares getting the engage he wants onto Killer Vanilla, forcing out that flash. But once again, Ares just in the middle of nowhere, missing the Vault Breaker onto no one, using that cooldown means that Ares is able to comfortably fly in and jump onto his backline.
And unfortunately, this is still a big loss for the Invictus, as that was actually a 5v, and Lowry's just been sitting up in the top lane.
Oh, and Galungulate is going to fall here as well. This is looking like a tragedy. Sapana going to land the kill onto Killer Vanilla as well, wanting to go for more, it thinks, as he's going for that ult onto Deja Fall as well. Davish trying to land the kill, but unfortunately, Sapana and Janus falling so low, but not going to fall as they're not able to secure that kill. And you're right, this whole entire time, T-Zums has just been pushing that top lane.
Yeah, and it is just a massacre of Eris. Just comes back straight in to die along with the rest of his team. And yeah, the game has just been broken wide open here. As we will look to see the second Drake secured for AsstroSmurfs. The Rift Herald just spawning as well, so I'm sure they're going for that, as well as securing maybe 3 towers on the top side there. So the gold lead's just absolutely exploded. Alawi has now 3,000 gold over our counterpart. Jarvan's 2,000 gold over his.
Yeah, it's funny, you know, you can look at the bottom timer and you can see like the lines and stuff. We see like, I think it was about 15 minutes, we were talking like, oh yeah, you know, they're doing a very good job of keeping this game very close, you know, some advantages in the top lane, but then boom, immediately taking a 5v4 and just purely from hand stiff alone almost, it felt like, just able to comfortably secure that win on that team fight for the side of AsstroSmurfs.
I feel like it was just execution there. I feel like a few missed skill shots from the side of the Invictus, and a few more of the hit ones on the side of AsstroSmurfs has really just turned this game around. Some key charms landing from Sapana as well, and very aggressive flash from Jaina on the Xayah to flash ult over the wall to secure the kill on the Tahm Kench.
Yeah, Jaina feeling themselves a little bit. I really do like how they played that team fight, even though they were getting pressured by the Jhin ult and stuff, not feeling like, you know, they know their limits. They're able to just say, okay, well, I can play here. I know I can flash ult forward because that damage is down and I just need to push to my advantage as hard as I can.
Absolutely.
As, you know, I do think Eris just needs to try and, you know, obviously not their usual jungler, so can't, you know, expect, you know, an insane amount from it, but the Vi in these team fights really has been invisible almost, and at the start of the last team fight, we saw them using Vault Breaker, and as I said, Ares just used that as his own kind of like signal to, oh, I can go in here, because, you know, usually you can stop the Jarvan EQ with the Vault Breaker, making sure that he can't necessarily get onto the target he wants to, but the moment that he sees Ares blow that, Ares knows that he can just push onto that backline, as we've seen that he's doing.
Yeah, and you saw him ultimate the Jhin straight away there, just making him blow the flash, and now it's down until the next fight. So really, just if Jhin doesn't have that up, then there's no escape for him. Gale Force isn't going to get you out of there. You're so dead.
Yeah,
absolutely.
11 J4 will just auto you to death in that arena at this point, I think.
As we do see the Rift Herald now, second Rift Herald used to secure that mid lane. Gold lead is expanding even more, as we are now 8k in the lead overall. As we do see the Vault Breaker land from Eris. Just not getting much effect out of it. Yeah, just not getting much benefit from it there. As we do see a bit of a fight over this red buff. And I don't really feel like Big can contest this if AsstroSmurfs really want it.
I don't think they can, but I think you kind of have to. I think this is maybe one of the best fights you're going to get. If you look where Ares is in comparison to the rest of his team, you could probably burst him before the team's able to follow up, as he does move back towards his teammates now. But we can see Ares wanting to secure that red buff for themselves as it resets again, and now the team is here to follow up. The J4 ult going to land. Ares is stuck in the wall here, going to fall back into it as Deja Fall is going to fall to Jaina, landing feather after feather after feather. The pullback is going to end Ares' life, as we see in the same time T-Zums diving under the tower against Galungulate, healthy on 50% HP, securing that kill, securing that tower, as Ass is going to secure victories all over the map.
Some bizarre interactions happening there, as we did see between the J4 wall and the rift there, and then Deja Vu tried his best to save it, but he was too low by that point.
Yeah.
And they are just throwing wallets at him at this point now.
Yeah, I understand what I was saying. It did maybe feel like the only time you could contest when Ares was kind of pushed there alone, but as you saw, he just kind of baited them. You know, he laid the little breadcrumbs down. Oh, come on, follow me back to my mid lane. And then Beckler and Jaina are there to immediately follow up, get that engage, get that follow up onto that J4 arena. J4 arena with Xayah, sorry, it works really well because obviously you just keep landing those feathers onto there. You know they're stuck in the same position. You can pull them back once that arena drops to get that follow-up CC and big damage.
And the issue is, while you said they could potentially contest, they were contesting with their Vi and their Tahm Kench and not their damage dealers behind them.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were not the perfect plan, I don't believe. As you could have maybe done something if you had the Brand there with the AoE and the Jhin with maybe an ultimate to back them up. Or the Aatrox even, yeah, but Aatrox was busy trying to defend the bottom tower from Malawi.
Aatrox was busy getting dived by Malawi.
Aatrox was busy to unsuccessfully defend. He was like, sorry guys, I'm dead.
Sorry guys, I was busy dying. It is my bad. But it does get really difficult, this situation. It's one of those situations when, you look at it now and you're like, well, what could they do to win? I really don't know. I don't even know how many people do you think it would take on the side of Big to kill T-Zums alone in a side lane?
Oh, I think T-Zums could 1v5 and easily take down 2 at this point.
I actually think he could probably comfortably 3v1 them. Like,
yeah.
There's no doubt. Is they're going to maybe try and look here to try and maybe get this still? Got to try for something. Ares maybe just going to queue over the wall here with the Vault Breaker. Unfortunately, not going to land the follow-up as they are trying to get some damage onto it, trying to get the damage that they can. Galungale going to get the Q, big heal. Jinot coming over the top means that is damage coming out, but Xayah's going to end the life of Aatrox with the Lava Feather over the wall as the collapse is coming out here. Deja Vu going to eat the Killer Vanilla up, trying to save his life, but they're trying to get that follow-up onto him. He's running away. Deja Vu getting another knock-up on 3 of them means that he is able to save the life as Killer Vanilla, but all for what? As it's just 2 team members left alive on the side of the Invictus as his Soul Unbound is going to land over the wall, trying to get that damage more down. Brand landing big damage onto them, but it just doesn't matter when you're the only 2 members left alive and Killer Vanilla not even in the fight, getting chunked to 25% HP. This is looking all over.
Ooh. As Killer Vanilla tries to run away from the rest of the back and
yeah, 5 tentacle on the way back, I think.
I think he did. He's very lucky to be alive right now. As we do see they're moving now towards the Baron. Oh, and we do have a quick pause here.
Not allowed. You have 10 minutes.
Not allowed. Restart
you
again.
have 10 minutes. I imagine, this game is all but over in the nicest way.
No, I can't see a way back at this point.
Not even team comp wise. Like as you mentioned before, I think Astra got the better team comp. They've got the better team play. They've got the better players. It becomes kind of the tale's already told at this point.
And we did say before that the execution really does feel a lot easier on the side of AsstroSmurfs. But it's not just been the comp, it has just been the macro and the execution of it. As we saw earlier, they were able to secure the Drake and then push them off the Herald, contest it. And then just a few of these skirmishes that they've committed to, the damage just hasn't been backed up by the engage on the side of Big. So yeah, really looking for a rough one right now. As I do just have the sweeper in my ear.
I feel like every single time there's a pause, someone pops the sweeper beforehand just to piss me off. I think that's the only reason.
It's always something.
Always, or it's like something jank. Like I've had it where like J4 is like spearing at the time, and then you can just hear like the entire time, and I'm like, oh, this is not good. Or like Swain ult as well is another one.
Oh, Swain ult's another bad one. Yeah. Oh, dear.
But as we are seeing, the ready calls come out as it looks like they're going to ready up and ready onto this Baron, I assume, as every member on the side of AsstroSmurfs is stacked with gold. Yeah.
Credit to Dabbies though, he's the only person who's relatively even.
Yeah,
he's 300 gold down to the hour.
He's
Vi actually sat on negative gold right now. I think
negative gold. She owes money to the government.
She owes money to the shopkeeper. Right?
She's like, I swear I'm good for it. If you give me just a little bit of time, I swear. Yeah.
You're writing out those IOUs.
Yeah, it's very hard to think about what you really can do in this game on the side of Big. It's you know, it's uh, hopefully your brand can get a few kills. I mean, we've seen that the brand does have decent damage onto people. It's just that it can be incredibly difficult when they don't necessarily have the follow up onto it, or even the engage at this point. Because I feel like Ares goes in and could you tell me who Ares has ulted this game? Eris, sorry, has ulted this game.
Eris? No, actually. I think she got one ult onto the... Actually, no. Yes, I saw her ult the Xayah when she died immediately. 2 seconds after she died.
Okay, nice.
That was the one by the red buff.
Oh yeah,
that was the only one
the
I've seen.
We're gonna see Beckler now charging for Eris onto that as burning their own ult there is. Oh my god, what is Deja Vu doing over here? Back behind enemies' lines, and this is not where he wants to be. Not exactly where he wants to be at all. Trying to maybe get vision onto that Baron is going to result in the death of himself. As that's going to secure
I feel like he was trying to be
now.
a bit sneaky there, trying to get behind the Baron and maybe make something happen. But spotted out there by Savannah and shut down with the other boss on the charm. Is him getting out as we can? Maybe a steal.
Ooh. Yeah, go for it. No!
Oh.
No! Early smite there, not exactly paying attention to the health. Gonna smite 120 damage early, which makes that secure nice and easy for the side of Eris. As Sapana now trying to go in and get that solo kill onto Galungulate, with Ares following up with the ult damage coming out afterwards. Beckler getting the W knockup means that that's gonna be an easy kill secure coming out for them. And even meanwhile this is happening, Dabis having to burn his flash in a 1v3 against T-Zoms means that, you know, this is all but over now. They're going for the end game push, I imagine. It's gonna be curtains for the side of Big.
And the only thing I can say is report Jarvan as he's stopped the perfect game.
Yeah. What a bastard.
Absolutely inting. How could he?
You know,
so we do see the final fight game.
Ooh. Okay, we're gonna see the damage coming out here. I don't even know what happened to them. I think that was a pullback coming out from the side of Desire, and more damage.
There's a lot going on the screen right now. And the end result is they're all dead.
Yeah, okay, well, we got what we wanted at the end of it. They're all dead as a 1 to 21. You're right, I think we should all report Ares. He's definitely not getting my MVP vote because he died, and that's the only reason.
That is the only reason he's not getting my MVP vote. Yeah.
Not at all, not at all.
No.
Unfortunately, Dabis does end up getting 1 death as well, which is truly tragic.
And I think we see Sapana's just noticed Jarvan, you're the only one that stopped a perfect game here, spamming at the end.